Donald Trump is expanding his use of military troops for domestic purposes. The U.S. president posting on social media this morning that he plans to send troops to Portland, Oregon, authorizing full force if necessary to handle, quote, domestic terrorists as he expands his controversial deployments to more American cities. There's no word on a timeline for the deployment or what troops would be involved. It's just the latest use of the military domestically, with troops sent to Los Angeles earlier this year and plans currently in place for a deployment for Memphis, Tennessee. Let's bring in CTV News U.S. political analyst Eric Ham. Good to see you, Eric. Why do you think Donald Trump is setting his sights on Portland now?
Well, Portland has been the scene of a number of protest demonstrations, particularly at ICE facilities. And after the recent shooting at an ICE facility in Dallas, Texas, we're seeing now that this recommendation coming from the Director of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, and now the president doubling down on that, saying that they wants to ensure the protection of ICE officers in Portland. Now, of course, we know not only have there been demonstrations and protests, but there have also been injuries where there have been confrontations between the protesters and demonstrators and law enforcement there. And so what we're seeing now is the president is now focusing on Portland, Oregon, as well as other places such as Memphis, Tennessee. And we know the president most recently backed off of sending National Guard troops into Chicago.
The mayor of Portland has said this is not needed. What kind of a response do you anticipate this getting from the Oregon governor?
Well, again, we're talking about a blue state, a blue city, and we know that there has been tremendous confrontations between the president certainly wanting to push and go into many of these blue states, blue cities. The issue for the president now is what will or how will he actually be able to get these troops on the ground. There's still the Posse Comitatus Act, which just does not allow the president to simply send troops in. Now, the reason he was able to get around that in California is because they were there actually protecting federal facilities. That is certainly one way for him to get around that. But what we know so far is both the governor and the mayor have made clear that they do not want or need National Guard troops in Portland, Oregon. So I suspect we're going to see, again, another fight very similar to what we saw perhaps with Chicago, Illinois, take place, of course, with Portland, Oregon.
Politically, what is this move aiming to achieve?
Well, the president has been really attempting to try to crack down on crime. That's why we have seen troops here in Washington, D.C. And now the president is saying that if, in fact, cities do not do more to combat crime, then he has now threatened to actually remove the World Cup from some blue cities. But again, I think what we're seeing here is a president who is stoking his base and using politics, of course, to advance an agenda. And I think that's what we're continuing to see from this president, as now he's moved away from Chicago and now focusing on Portland.
Eric, thanks very much for this. Great chatting with you.
Thank you.
That is CTV News U.S. political analyst Eric Ham.